Hey guys, how you doing today? This video today is a thread response that was started by Andy over at Andy's Vinyl Den. And congratulations, Andy, on your 1-year anniversary in the VC. The thread that Andy started is Gimme 10 greatest hits or best of albums. And I've seen a couple of videos out there. I think Vinyl Boy Trigger has done one. Captain Howdy has done one. Jeff Party, I think I've seen his. And I saw one earlier today by Chris Keebler out. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right, Chris. He did a bit of a spin on his, which was best of country version. And I made a comment on his video that I was actually surprised that he didn't show this one particular artist, and that's who I have playing in the background. This isn't a best of, and maybe there isn't a best of out there that exists, but this is Townes Van Zandt. This is Townes Van Zandt's third album. It's self-titled, excellent album. Has one of the most amazing songs that I love, which is "Waiting Round to Die." And go over there and check out Chris's video. Okay. Now my personal list. So what I basically did was just went through my collection alphabetically and just pulled out what sort of stood out for me. I ended up with about 11 records, and I'll just talk a little bit about each one. So the first one, I'm a big fan of reggae, and I love Bob Marley. And another lesser-known reggae artist who I love is Horace Andy. Horace Andy, some of you might know, he appeared back in the 90s on the band Massive Attack's probably most well-known album called Mezzanine. And he did guest vocals on a couple of tracks. And one of those tracks, it was actually one of his biggest hits, which was a song called Angel. But of course it was done in sort of the Massive Attack trip-hop style. This Greatest Hits album is a compilation of dub versions of Horace Andy's bigger songs. So it's Horace Andy's dub box, Rare Dubs 1973 to 1976. I also have a Horace Andy Greatest Hits album called Skylarking, and I actually prefer this one. I prefer the dub versions of the songs over the actual versions, which I still love, but I think the dub versions are better. So you'll have songs on here, some of his bigger hits like Skylarking, Angel, as I mentioned before, Money. The money is the root of all evil. I don't know if you guys know those tracks, but this is a fantastic compilation. Definitely recommended for the reggae fan out there. I'm also a big fan. I have a lot of jazz in my collection, a lot of mainly on CD, some on vinyl. I have a lot of Louis Armstrong and several Louis Armstrong greatest hits, but I think this is the best one. And the reason I like this Louis Armstrong over the others is that I think it captures a period of Louis Armstrong, which is my more favorite period, which has some songs from his earlier period with the Hot Sevens and the Hot Fives. Some songs on here that you may know, there's Mac the Knife, Basin Street Blues, When It's Sleepy Time Down South, Indiana, All of Me, a great collection. So if you're trying to get into jazz and specifically Louis Armstrong, this is a great collection to get. I mean, his vocal so quintessential, and you know, the trumpet playing. I mean, he is in my top 3 for sure of all jazz artists. Next, one of my favorite bands from the 60s are the Byrds, and this is the Byrds Best Of, which is a compilation of their first 4 albums, which are my favorite Byrds albums, along with the 5th album, Notorious Byrd Brothers. I have all the Byrds studio albums on CD, and most of them all on vinyl, but when I was back into collecting vinyl a few years ago, I thought I need some Byrds in my collection. I thought, you know what, let's go for the best of, and that's what I did. I got this a few years ago, and then slowly over time I thought I started finding, you know what, I need more and more Byrds, and I started getting some of the other albums that I already had on CD. But this is a nice compilation up until Younger Than Yesterday, which is their 4th album, and it includes everything that you would expect. So this is great for a Byrds beginner. You know, Mr. Tambourine Man, Turn, 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 8 Miles High, So You Want to Be a Rock and Roll Star. It has all those great songs. Another favorite comp of mine is by The Cure, Standing on a Beach. This is The Cure's comp of their early material that is from their debut up until Head on the Door, so includes the song Close to Me. They have a best of their later part, or their middle part of their career, which is called Galore, I believe, and it sort of thematically takes from this cover, which is an elderly man on a beach, hence the title Standing on a Beach. Galore has a baby sitting on a beach, so definitely link to this here. But if you like some early Cure and you don't want to get all of the studio albums, this is a great comp to get. One of my favorite bands of all time, and I was heavily into these guys, especially back in the mid to late 80s, is Dire Straits. This is the Dire Straits compilation called Money for Nothing. As you can see, it takes sort of a shot of the Money for Nothing video. And as the name suggests, this comp came out right after the Brothers in Arms album, which was their huge selling album. So it has the big hits from that album, but going all the way back to some of their earlier hits, Sultans of Swing, Tunnel of Love. What I really love about this comp, and I used to have it on originally on cassette, is that it has a live version of a song from the Communique album called Portobello Bell, which I actually think is better than the version on the Communique album. Another favorite band of mine is Echo and the Bunnymen. This is their comp called Songs to Learn and Sing. This came out after the 5th Echo and the Bunnymen album, which was a self-titled album, but is known by fans as the Grey album because it's just a picture of the band with a sort of a gray backdrop. The song Lips Like Sugar is from that particular album, and when this album came out, it included a non-LP track, which I believe was from a movie, maybe Pretty in Pink or one of those type of movies, the song Bring on the Dancing Horses, which was a big hit for them. But this album is fantastic. It has songs going all the way back to their debut Crocodiles, so songs like Rescue, non-album track Do It Clean, some of the huge hits like Killing Moon. This is a fantastic compilation, but I would recommend getting all of the early Echo and the Bunnymen studio albums, especially from their Mach 1 period with the original lineup. Another band that I've shown before, they only had 3 albums, British ska band, The Beat, or as they were known in North America, The English Beat. And this is a great example, I think, of a best of or compilation which is suited for all kinds of fans. It's good for the casual fan who doesn't want to get all the individual albums because it has all the hits on here. It's also great for the more devoted Beat fans because it has some 12-inch mixes of songs which you may not have, and it also has some unreleased tracks that you can only get on this album. So I think this is a good example in my mind of the perfect compilation because it's tailored to all sorts of people. This is called What Is Beat. Another amazing best of compilation is this one by The Jam called Snap. So this includes songs, it's a double LP and includes songs from all 5 Jam studio albums. This is an amazing compilation. It just really covers all grounds on here, and I think you know, I've got all of the Jam individual studio albums either on CD or on vinyl, and again, a perfect compilation for those fans who like some Jam songs but don't want to get into all the studio albums. The next one we have is John Lennon, Shaved Fish. This is a great example as well, and I'm saying, kind of repeating myself here a lot. This has a lot of songs that were not found on John Lennon studio albums. It has a few, like Imagine and Mind Games, that were actually on albums and are repeated here in this best of. But songs like, I think Cold Turkey, Instant Karma, Cold Turkey, Instant Karma, Happy Christmas War is Over. I mean, there's a lot of songs on here that you can't get on John Lennon albums, so this is highly recommended. The next band is The Small Faces. This is a Small Faces best of that covers their period on the Immediate label. The Small Faces first album was released, it was just a self-titled album released on the Decca label, and then they moved to Immediate and released 2 albums on the Immediate label. Their second album, which was also a self-titled album, and their last album, which is a psychedelic classic, Ogden's Nut Gone Flake. In between those 2 albums, they had another comp, which was they collected a bunch of different singles. That was called "There Are But Only 4 Small Faces," and this captures that second album, that mid-period comp, and that final third album, which was Ogden's Nut Gone Flake. So this is really good. You know, again, if you don't want to get all their individual albums, but it covers their immediate years only. So it includes songs like Tin Soldier, excellent song that's been covered before by Paul Weller, and Itchycoo Park. This is awesome. And saving the best for last. This, in my opinion, is the best greatest hits that there ever has been and there ever will be, in my opinion. Bob Marley, legend. Don't need to say too much about this. Every single song is a bona fide classic. Is This Love? No Woman No Cry, Could You Be Loved, 3 Little Birds, Buffalo Soldier, Get Up, Stand Up, Stir It Up. That's just side 1. One Love, I Shot the Sheriff, Waiting in Vain, Redemption Song, Satisfy My Soul, Exodus, and Jammin'. This is the most unbelievable best of collection, and if you get this, you will not, warning, you will not want to stop at this. You will want to get all of Bob Marley's solo album, studio albums. All right, cool. Okay, thanks guys. Great thread, Andy. Congratulations again on the 1-year anniversary, and we'll see you later.